We are back for the final segment of the night, and we are ready to rock and roll with more Ryan Herpin and his excellent advice and the value that he is dropping into this interview tonight. So we're going to jump right back in because we've only got a little bit of time before everything's over for the evening. So, Ryan, I want to talk about some specific qualities. I want to know, and the audience wants to know about the essential qualities that you're going to look to build into a strong leadership team. And that way, the business can use those qualities to foster and achieve that long term success we've been talking about.
Yeah, a strong leadership team is adaptable, strategic, and deeply aligned with the company's vision. Leaders should possess resilience, integrity, and a focus on growth, not only for the business, but for their teams. Fostering these qualities requires continuous development, mentorship, and regular performance reviews, where leaders are encouraged to self-reflect and improve. This builds a team that's both committed and capable of steering the company towards sustained success.
I like that a lot. So I want to point out some highlights because you hit many things, which is exactly what I asked you to do. But the continued development. So I heard a very good mentor of mine say that the best welfare for the troops and the employees is world class training to constantly improve them and make them better at their jobs and get them the resources they need to be successful. And that's going to make the whole company successful. And you hit that in a high note. And I want to draw that out for people because it's obviously a belief of yours. And then you talk about the recurring performance reviews. Now, this is generally a part of the job most leaders don't like. I kind of hate to sit down and tell you that, hey, you could improve here, and hey, this is great, keep that up. How often should we be doing those performance reviews? Once a year, twice a year, every other week? What do you recommend to truly foster that solid team?
I firmly believe that these reviews should be as often as possible to an extent. So you don't want to make it so frequent that it's like they're hearing a broken record, but you want to make it frequent enough where they know they're being recognized and appreciated. But in the same sense, being a leader is like being a parent. You got to correct your kids. You've got to build them up where they need to be built up and address the problems where they need to be addressed. So waiting too long to do that is going to have less impact. Doing it frequently is going to help keep them comfortable knowing that you're there.
I like that a lot. So I'm going to give kind of an echo of what we do. So I'm in the accounting world with one of my companies, and what we do is we do a three-time employee eval. We do the big annual eval, right, which has all the scoring and all that kind of stuff, and it results in raises and things like that, possible promotions. And then we have our two busy seasons, and we give what we call two busy season debriefs. And this is how you did during the busy season. And so ours is only three times a year, but I want to emphasize what you said too. Things need to be happen in short, consistently. We call that keeping a record or short record of accounts, right? So
Yep.
if you've done something wrong, I don't want to linger till next year's performance review, right? I want to go ahead and
Right.
say, I noticed this happen. And then on the other time, hey, if you did something good, I don't want to wait till next year's performance review and say,
Yeah.
oh, we want to keep a short record of accounts. So I appreciate you saying that they need to happen in consistency and in relation to the events and the things that are going on. And then echoing one more time, if you do them all the time, they become redundant and basically worthless because it's like, okay, here's this week's performance review. So let's talk about that little training mark that you said, the development. So if a company is looking to really develop and get a tailored roadmap for themselves and for their staff, what goes into that so they can achieve that operational excellence?
To create a roadmap for operational excellence, companies should first assess their unique challenges and opportunities. Leaders must engage stakeholders at all levels to gain insight into pain points and potential solutions. With these insights, they can set specific, measurable objectives, establish timelines, and allocate resources correctly. By breaking down the roadmap into manageable steps and reviewing progress regularly, companies can make adjustments as needed while staying focused on those long-term goals.
I like that. So, do you have much experience with clients who just say, I feel like we're getting better? I feel like we've been growing over time. I feel like the bank account has a little bit more money in it than it did last year versus the success ratio and the probably, I'm going to guess, even exponential growth that people who set out a plan and stick to a plan with both their staff and their operations. Give me the difference in what you experience with your clients.
So, something that I like to address very early on working with a client is what you feel and what you know are two very different things. When it comes to metrics of success, I care about what you know. So don't come to me with what you feel the health of the business is. Come to me with what you know the health of the business is. We got to look at facts. So being very well aware of where you stand is extremely important, but it's a consistent thing I see with smaller businesses that haven't fully developed yet.
Gotcha. I like that. I like that. Specific steps. Yeah. Don't come to me with what you feel. Come to me with what you know. Metrics. I like that. Okay. I hope everyone heard that. All right. So moving along with that, and this might be a good time for the audience to get their pens ready. So give me some practical steps. Give us some practical steps that the leaders can take to really enhance the employee engagement, and then of course operate the operational performance will increase because of that. So what is a step? Or maybe if you're just going to say, hey, there's a ton of steps, but here's one big one that I want you guys to write down because you can go home and do it today. Talk about some of those steps, those practical steps.
So employee engagement really thrives when individuals feel valued, empowered, and connected to the company's goals. Transparency is so important. They've got to be able to see what the ship is steering towards. Leaders can enhance this engagement by meaningful growth opportunities and recognizing achievements. It is extremely important to recognize where your team is winning, that showing them that you see that can completely change the narrative for a business.
Ooh, I like this a lot. So I'm hearing that if I'm going to go motivate somebody right now today, somebody in the audience can go home and say, Ryan told me to notice and recognize the achievements of my staff and my teams. So you go put on a calendar on who knows, tomorrow's going to be Friday. So go put on a calendar for Friday, go identify, recognize, and promote this achievement, this success of my team member, and we're going to start seeing some changes. Is that what's going to happen?
Most definitely. The motivation is going to stick and it's going to spread like a wildfire in the business where they feel what they do is going to receive that recognition.
That is awesome. So another thing that we kind of do is we do these blanket recognitions. So we, in our non-busy season, we offer half-day Fridays, and half-day Fridays are conditional. Okay, so they're conditional on here's the amount of workload that has to be done in order to equal a half-day Friday. Now, half-day Friday means you go home at noon, and I pay you for those 4 hours you're not here. Right? It's not half-day vacation; it's paid. And so what happens is that little bit of competition, those teams go help each other out. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
Johnny, did you get your stuff done? Hey, Sally, did you get your stuff done? Hey, give me that document. I'll get you helped out. And we see that those recognitions are kind of competitively and fun earned. What do you recommend as possible other initiatives that people can take to get that motivation going as well?
The healthy competition is so important. I like setting up metrics within a business, not to pit different departments and teams against each other,
Right.
but to strive for exceptional achievement, receiving a reward. Incentives are powerful. It doesn't always have to be monetary incentive. It can be an event, it can be a plaque, it can be a trophy. It doesn't really matter what it is, as long as you're able to build that healthy competitive nature between different teams to thrive in their own metrics.
I like that a lot. And like you said, the competition or the reward or the incentive doesn't have to just be, some time off or some more money. It could be something different. That just makes me think about if you guys have ever heard of or watched Shark Tank out there. One of the very famous Shark Tank people said the motivation that they had is if you reached X amount in sales, which was very challenging and difficult, you got to put a yellow ribbon on your office door and everyone knew you were that level of salesman. Well, eventually people strive for it. When the first person got it, there was a big ceremony and they placed the yellow ribbon on the door. And eventually everyone achieved yellow ribbons. And of course, the operational success went through the roof. So let me probably hit you with our last question of the night. And I want to talk about companies continuously adapting because we talked about all these things that could possibly be changed or looked on. So give us an operational strategy that's going to let us stay competitive with the market, stay competitive so that we can ensure that future growth. Talk strategy.
Continuous adaptation requires an agile mindset and a commitment to staying informed about industry trends and customer needs. Regularly assessing performance data and being open to refining processes enables companies to stay responsive. Building flexibility into strategic plans allows businesses to pivot quickly when the market conditions change, helping them stay competitive and maintain sustainability.
I love what you just said about building in flexibility. If we build a plan that completely uses up every ounce of resource and time and all of our bandwidth, well, then how flexible could we really be? Now, that is a great thing for people to know. So here's what I want to do as we get to wrapping up the night. So Ryan, you have really dropped some serious wisdom and value into this. I guarantee people are going to somehow want to talk to you, know more, and use your services. Where can somebody find you and get a hold of you?
Really easy ways to find me are Ryan Herpin on LinkedIn, my website, impactstrategyc.com. Those are two fast, quick, easy ways to find me. And I'm available 24/7, especially for emergency needs. Sometimes that happens with businesses, but feel free to reach out. I do free consultations and I'm always willing to listen to somebody's strategy.
I love it. Thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. And for everyone else out there watching Pivotal Change, remember, we had a lot of talk about branding and being your unique, authentic self, and then being an adaptable and transparent leader with the best ways to ensure that long term strategy and growth. So, what we do is need to reflect on ourselves all the time. And I want you to go out there and see the change and be the change. And we will catch you next week on Pivotal Change.
This has been a Now Media Networks feature presentation. All rights reserved.